It's the beginning of a new year and you've woken up to a scary situation. You opened up your bank account and you're down to your last $87 in the account and you've got bills coming up. Is this you? That was me back in 2013. My wife and I had just gotten married. We got home from our honeymoon and woke up to the fact that we were in a big mess. To top things off, we didn't have a clue what we were doing. Where are you supposed to even start? Where do you start if you know nothing about finances? What should you do if your finances are a complete mess? Well, have no fear. You've come to the right place. Stick with me, and let's do this together. First, let's understand that personal finance is one of these topics that can be as simple or as complicated as you want it to be. If you're a super nerd like I am, you can spend thousands of hours learning all the intricate details, but let's be honest, there's really just a few basic concepts that can get you 95% of the way there. I can't stress this enough. Basic personal finance is extremely simple, but that doesn't make it easy. It requires a lot of discipline and responsibility to get your life in order. If it was easy, you probably wouldn't be in the situation you're in right now, and neither would I have been 11 years ago, but that's okay. Just because it's hard doesn't mean you can't do it. You can do hard things. So let's start with the basics. What exactly is the simple part? Well, I've got a simple mantra that I've been repeating to my kids ever since my daughter, who was a toddler at the time, asked me to tell her about the money. What I told her was simply this: you make the money, you budget the money, you save the money, you invest the money, and finally, the part that she added all on her own a little while later, everyone's favorite part, you spend the money. So I know it's a bit silly, but what does that mantra actually mean? Let's break it down step by step. First, you have to make the money. If you aren't drawing an income, you've got to solve that problem first. Now, finding a job really is beyond the scope of this video. I'm not going to cover that here. If you don't have an income, you don't have a money problem. You have an employment problem. So what's next? Let's assume you already make the money. Now we need to budget the money. Of course, you're not a 3-year-old. So let's expand on that just a bit. Budget the money really means two things. First, you need to have a written plan of what you're going to do with the money that you make. And second, you're going to stick to that plan. The second part is really where personal finance stops being easy. It stops being a knowledge problem and it starts becoming a discipline problem. But you can do it. You've got this. Now, if you've never created a budget in your whole life, you're probably sitting there saying,
Yeah, I've heard all this before, but how do you actually do it?
well, the process is fairly straightforward. Again, simple, but not easy. First, write down how much money you make on a monthly basis. I don't really care if you get paid weekly or bi-weekly or daily or whatever. We're going to do this on a monthly basis because most of your bills are due monthly. Trust me, this is really the best way of doing things. Beyond just logically making sense based on the cadence of your normal bill cycles, if you've never thought beyond your weekly or bi-weekly paycheck, this is probably one of the most impactful changes you can make to help change your mindset. The more long-term we can start thinking, the better. Now that you have your income, we need to figure out how much it costs for our basic necessities and obligations. To be clear, for now, I'm not talking about fast food, Spotify subscriptions, hobbies, Netflix, Hulu, restaurants, toll roads, designer clothing or handbags, luxury cars or watches, or anything else that you spend your money on that doesn't involve your health or survival. I'm talking about the basic needs of survival and obligations that you must take care of. Write down how much you spend on each of these every month currently. If you don't know, go look at some bank statements or credit card statements to help figure it out. Let's go through our categories together. First, we have shelter, things like rent, mortgage, and property taxes. Next, we have utilities, things like water, electricity, and natural gas. Next is food. I'm talking about groceries. You know, the kind that you cook at home. This does not include fast food or restaurants. Those are luxury items. We're talking about necessities. Next is basic transportation costs. This is fuel costs or car insurance. Next is home goods and supplies, things like soap, toothpaste, toilet paper, paper towels, shampoo. You get the idea. Next is communication, internet, cell phone. Medical care, things like doctors, dentists, or medication. Finally, we have your minimum debt obligations. For now, I'm not talking about making any extra payments. I'm only talking about your minimum payments required each month so that you don't get charged extra fees or penalties. Be sure to consider all minimum payments here for things like credit cards, personal loans, payday loans, car notes, student loans, HELOCs, title loans, installment loans, debt consolidation loans, buy now, pay later scams, layaways, tax debts to the IRS, or any other minimum payments that you are obligated to pay. Congratulations! You've basically made your first budget. We're not done yet, but at this point, you can see how much you make and how much money you have to spend to survive. How are you doing so far? If your income is bigger than your necessary expenses, that's good news. It means that you've got some money left over for our next steps. But if your income is less than your necessary expenses, you've got a problem. Before you can really do anything else, you need to fix this problem. And that's not always an easy problem to solve. You either need to make more money, or you need to take a hard look at your necessary spending and find ways to decrease those expenses. Now, it's beyond the scope of this video to address this situation because it can get complicated depending on your individual circumstances. But at least at this point, you've done enough legwork to know what the problem is and what you need to fix first. If you're in this situation, I would advise you not to attempt the next steps in this video. Take care of this problem first. For everyone else, let's assume that your necessary expenses are less than your income and you've got some money left over. Now what? Well, back to the mantra. You've made the money. You've budgeted the money. Great. Now it's time to save the money. But how much do you save? Well, that depends on the simple question. Did you list out any debts besides a mortgage when you built your basic budget? Or are you debt free? If you have debts, your next step is simple. Go back and look at your budget. Whatever number you wrote down for your necessary expenses now becomes the goal amount for you to save up. In other words, your goal is to save up 1 month's worth of necessary expenses using your leftover cash each month. This becomes your starter emergency fund, and this money is not to be touched unless you have a true emergency. This money is your buffer so that if anything bad happens in your life, you've got a little cushion to fall on so that you don't have to take on more debt. This money should only be used in case of emergency. Your refrigerator stops working and you can't keep your groceries from spoiling? That's an emergency. Get it fixed. Your car has a blowout and you can't drive to work and make the money? That's an emergency. Get it fixed. Taylor Swift is coming to your town for a one-night only exclusive event and you've got the hookup for tickets? That's an emergency. Buy the ticket. Wait. No, that one is absolutely not an emergency. Did I get you? Okay, I threw that in there as a dumb example, but hopefully it made sense. An emergency should affect your health or your ability to make money. If something comes up that doesn't affect your health or your ability to make money, it's probably not an emergency. Sorry. Be careful with this starter emergency fund and protect it above all else, because from this point in your life, from now on, any time in your life that you don't have an emergency fund, that is your emergency. And building back up your emergency fund becomes your number one priority above all else. Not having an emergency fund is an emergency, because not having an emergency fund makes it nearly impossible to protect your health, your safety, and your ability to make money. Okay. At this point, we are still talking about what you should do if you had debts besides a mortgage when you built your basic budget. Now that you have your starter emergency fund, get to work paying off all of your consumer debts besides your mortgage. It's completely up to you which ones of these to do first, but if you don't know where to start, just pay off the smallest debt first and move up from there. Every time you pay off a debt, take the minimum balance that you were putting towards the debt and roll it into your leftover money to pay off more debt. By the way, have you noticed that we haven't talked about non-necessary spending yet? Yeah, that's not a mistake, because until all your debts are paid off besides your mortgage, all of your extra cash goes towards debt payoff. We can talk about luxury or non-necessary spending once you get to a point where you aren't being taken advantage of by the predatory high interest rates and fees that have been keeping you down to this point. All right, so at this point, we've been talking about how much money you should save if you had debt obligations in your budget. So what if you don't? What if you're completely debt-free besides a mortgage? Well, if that's you, good job. you get a slightly different savings goal. Instead of saving up a 1-month starter emergency fund, you get to save up your full emergency fund. Go back to your budget and grab that monthly necessary expense number and multiply it by 6 times. That number is your goal for your full emergency fund. It may seem like a lot, but the full emergency fund is the secret to the success of anyone you've ever met who is financially stable. The full emergency fund gives financially responsible people a lot of things. It's peace of mind, it's flexibility, it's reduction in stress, but most importantly, it is the thing that keeps you from ever going into debt. Done with that? Great. Let's move on to the next step. Remember our mantra again. You've done great so far. You've made the money. You've budgeted the money. You've saved the money. Now it's time to invest the money. And to be completely clear, I'm talking about retirement planning. I'm not talking about going out and buying some stocks or some Bitcoin. But look, investing the money is a whole topic in and of itself. We could talk for hours about the different ways you can invest the money using tax-advantaged accounts like 401ks, IRAs, HSAs, 403bs, but I'm not going to do that here. If you don't know where to start, I'd recommend finding a certified investment advisor to help you get started with retirement planning, or start reading into some of these things on your own. It isn't that complicated, but it is beyond the scope of this video. But regardless of whether you start educating yourself on investing or decide to pay someone else to help you do it, just be sure that you're working towards some kind of long-term plan for retirement. At this point, you can finally do everyone's favorite part. You've made the money, you've budgeted the money, you've saved the money, you've invested the money. Go ahead and spend the money. Build in your luxury spending into your budget and enjoy it. You've earned it.